Good evening, everybody. Thank you for everybody coming yet again. What a turnout, fantastic. Yeah. I'm going to bore you with 5 minutes of dulcet tones. We've got a reasonably packed evening for you. Can see some special guests haven't turned up yet, but I understand there's been a road accident, so some roads are blocked up, but we're still hoping they're going to get here. But there's plenty to go out, plenty for everybody to see in here. First of all, I want to say a few thank yous, because it's been a long journey to get here, and we've finally got rid of him, and you know, it's not over yet, but there's a few thank yous I've got to say. Over the last 2 years, it's been a bit of a slog with the trust, apart from the last probably 12 months. There were 6 of us on the board, and we're struggling with 1,200 members, something like that. And then everything started going wrong at club. We got several members to come back, including Mark up here, Mark Johnson, and Jake joined the board, and we got several people to come and help out, and we finished up with James, our vice chairman, who put together a fantastic financial team behind us, who's done loads of stuff. And we've got here today with loads of things going off, protests, behind the scenes investigations, putting financial stuff together about Mr. Chancery, and basically just an incredible job done by the trust, I think. And he's had a toll on us. I'm sure these stories will tell you, wives and people complain about time we spent on it, but it's for our club, innit? Yeah. So there's a few special thanks I'd like to say. There's a few volunteers here. Harry Pepple's down here, who's been on every demonstration. He's just a member at Trust. He's outsold scarves in wind, rain, snow, whatever it's been, handing out leaflets, getting some abuse from people. But just in general, he's one of them that's helped out. Some old lads from 70s who got on board. We had a meeting at Archers down on Derek Dooley Way, where a few old lads turned up, and I think it turned a few heads and understood what the trust were trying to do. And that got the old lads on board, and I think, that's helped, because they have a swear with everybody. And it's helped with the boycotts. Thanks to everybody who boycotted games. It's an incredible thing to ask, but thank you. And just in general, it's been an eye-opening experience. I've made friends for life. Jake here, 1867 lads, and I've become friends with them, and we travel to matches with his son now. Fantastic, and it's just been a journey that's been, well worthwhile. You'll get our vice chairman to speak in a minute. He can't be here, unfortunately, but he's a lot more eloquent than I am. But I want to thank everybody and everybody who's here tonight, because it's another great turnout. Thank you very much.
The Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust Fan Forum. Sorry I can't be with you there tonight. My name is James Silverwood. I'm the Vice Chair. Very proud to be the Vice Chair of the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust. Now, the priority this evening is for us to look into the future. But before we did that, we thought it was worthwhile to just take a brief moment of reflection about what we've actually achieved together. And we absolutely did achieve something incredible together. I want to thank everybody in this room, everybody watching online via the stream, everybody across the fan base who stood shoulder to shoulder with the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust in our campaign to force the previous owner from Sheffield Wednesday. We know that the actions we asked you to take would have caused a great deal of pain, frustration, perhaps even at times anger. They required sacrifice. We know that, and please be rest assured that at each and every stage that we asked you to take action against the previous owner, we felt the pain from that sacrifice alongside with you. To every person who took action and stood alongside us, I just want to say from the very bottom of my heart, and I know from the bottom of the heart of every single board member of the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust, thank you. It is you who achieved the impossible. To every person who travelled the country, often in rain and all too infrequently shine, to sell black and gold protest scarves, thank you. It is you who have done this. To each and every person who proudly raised aloft their black and gold protest scarf on 10 minutes, thank you. It is you who have achieved this. To each and every person who took part in one of our match day protests, whether it be such as that at Leicester City away, or whether it be the great and incredible protest organised by the fantastic London Owls down at the Thai embassy, thank you, and know that it is you who have done this. To each parent who had an incredibly difficult conversation with a child about kits and shirts over the summer and autumn, thank you, and know that it is you who have done this. And finally, to everybody who made the ultimate sacrifice of not attending a game at Hillsborough, thank you, and know that it is you who have done this. Make no mistake, your actions were absolutely pivotal in forcing the previous owner from Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. If it wasn't for you protesting and denying him your money, he would be still at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, managing the decline of our great institution and masking his own incompetence with your hard-earned cash. Each and every one of you who took action can look at the reflection in the mirror with a significant amount of pride and know that when Sheffield Wednesday needed you, you stood up to be counted. And perhaps as importantly, we can now move into the new era at Sheffield Wednesday with renewed belief and confidence as a fan base. We've proven to ourselves and to the wider footballing world that both as individuals and as a community that we can achieve the extraordinary. And mark my words, we did achieve something incredible. We each acted from the strength that comes from being born in Sheffield, a city forged in steel and on stubborn pride and determination, a resilience born of ancestry that has come from working for centuries on factory floors in conditions hotter than hell itself. A strength and determination refashioned each and every day when we leave our doorsteps, and to get anywhere we have to walk up an enormous hill. It is you who did this. Never forget that. In a city bursting with talent, artists, engineers, musicians, storytellers, you showed what Sheffield Wednesday is truly about: creativity, courageousness, and an unwillingness to bow to bullies. You are the very best that this city has to offer. And you've shown that same remarkable qualities after administration was announced to safeguard the future of Sheffield Wednesday. That same courage, determination and resilience that forced the previous owner to leave and won Sheffield Wednesday an opportunity at a future together is that same passion and commitment that will mean Sheffield Wednesday will survive this administration process and move on to a better future. The togetherness and unshakable spirit that we've shown in recent months is what is now driving this football club forward. We've proven that no problem is insurmountable, that nothing as a community is beyond us, and that together we can do the incredible. This is our city, it's our Wednesday, and together it will be our future.
Need to have a word with you, we need to have my speech. I had to cut mine short, but anyway. Just a quick announcement. We've got a bit of a raffle going this evening. Proceeds obviously going to helping, Chris and his team. It's to win 2 pairs of VIP tickets to see Carlton Palmer, John Sheridan, Chris Kirtland, and Rob Earnshaw. It's free. It's an entree. It's a meet and greet, and there's 2 beers per person included in it. It's here at the Wadsley Bridge Club. It's on 28th of November. Raffle tickets are a £5 a piece. Tickets are going to be 25, 30 quid a piece. So get in your pockets, get some money put in. Somebody will be coming round, and we'll be selling a few raffle tickets, guys. All right. If he's ready, I think Mr. Chris Whitfield is he's going to come up and speak. So. I want you to give him a massive round of applause, please. Yeah.
Chris, I've been given the task of asking you some questions this evening. So, there's been some questions that have been asked by the fans as well, which I'll get onto them in a second. But Chris, thanks for sparing your time this evening. I can imagine you've been a very busy guy, and I know you've been on holiday, but I can't see that being very relaxing at all, has it?
No. It was a bit hectic, so I won't want to for you, but in my job we have to record timesheets. We have to record what we put to time. So
Just sort of bring the microphone
a bit closer. So yeah, in terms of I know because we have to record it, I spent 30 hours just on the phone last week, and then obviously that doesn't include all the WhatsApp messages, emails, etc. So yeah, it's been very time consuming, but at the same time, from my point of view, you know, it's been enjoyable, and you know, I'm pleased to hopefully play my part in what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, I've been blown away by the response from the fans, but from your perspective as a Sheffield Wednesday fan as well, it has been quite remarkable, hasn't it, really?
It has, yeah, but I think I expected it, you know. There was a lot of easy wins, I think it's fair to say, in terms of re-engaging with the fan base, re-engaging with the ex-players that we saw last night. But yeah, in terms of the support in the club shop, buying more beer in the ground than what they usually would, the ticket sales, all of it, the positivity, social media, it's all been brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you know this question or not, but hopefully you do. But obviously, you know, people are spending money left, right and centre. How much money does Sheffield Wednesday Football Club actually need on a weekly or monthly basis to actually operate? Because, you know, fans are spending the money,
Yeah.
you know, they're turning up to the games, buying the shirts, doing all what we can do. But how much does the club actually need to run?
Well, one of the advantages of the way that he's ran the club, from our point of view, is not as much as he should do. The player wage bill is low for Championship standard. So we've got to a stage where even without season ticket income, because obviously that was all sunk in December, we think that by the end of January we can run the club. We will have ran the club probably for about £1 million profit.
Right, okay. I know you spoke about this a lot, certainly on local media, even on the club's website, which are fantastic, but for those that don't know, and they should do by now, but the administration process, you can kind of simplify it for people that don't know, what does that process look like?
Okay, so we can give a bit more info today in terms of how that looks, because we have gone back to the potential, well, to the interested parties today in terms of what we're looking at. So what we've asked for is people who are interested to come forward, and they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Once they sign a non-disclosure agreement, they've got access to what we're calling a data room, or data room 1. They get access to that, and then they have to give us proof of funds. So we've asked for £50 million proof of funding. I think the new owner needs more than £50 million in terms of the infrastructure, but what it does from our point of view is it effectively eliminates the time wasters, eliminates the people who haven't got the cash. So we've had 7 parties so far that have come forward and given £50 million proof of funding. We think that's probably going to go up to 9 or 10. The ones that have given proof of funding, we've gone back to them and said we've setting a soft deadline, as we're calling it, of 21st of November for their indicative offers. So what that should enable us to do within the next couple of weeks is see which of those 7, or if we do get it to 9 or 10, which of those are seriously interested, what the type of offers they're looking at, and then hopefully we'll get it down to a shortlist that's less than that. So today we showed one of the 7 around the training ground and around Hillsborough. There'll be another 2 or 3 that we're showing around next week. So it is getting to the stage now where they're beginning to sort of dig into the detail and start asking the kind of questions to determine whether they want to buy the club or not.
I mean, how much do you, as the administrator, have a say in the process? You know, I know there's been a lot of talk and people saying, you know, we don't want these people, we don't want those. Like, how much say do you actually have?
Not as much as what would be ideal from a supporter's point of view. We have to be certain that that person can make the football club viable, so they have to show us that they've got the funds to obviously purchase it and to run the club for the next few years. We have to be satisfied that they're going to pass the EFL fit and proper test, but beyond that, unfortunately, it comes down to who makes the best offer. So we can't sit there and say we prefer this buyer to this buyer. if one buyer makes the better offer to the party that we think would be a better buyer, we've got to go with the one that makes the best offer.
Are those blind bids as well, or is that kind of an auction
No.
process?
So we'll get indicative offers, and then obviously we can go back to the parties that haven't made the highest offer, and we can say, you're not the best offer at the moment, do you want to make an improved bid? It may get to the stage where we have to go to closed offers, because sometimes it's the only way you can ever get to a resolution, but it certainly wouldn't be our intention in the first instance.
Yeah, I mean, as fans as well, we're all dying to know who these people are, of course, you know. I know I'm not going to ask you what their names are, you're not going to tell me, but when would we, as fans, officially find out? Is that when the preferred buyer is, did it get identified publicly, or what does happen from that point?
If we get to a preferred bidder status where effectively they've signed terms, so they've signed the contract, but it's subject to due diligence on their part and passing the EFL fit and proper, then as long as they're comfortable with their name being revealed, then you may well find out at that stage.
Great stuff. Now, I've got some questions that have been pre-submitted as well, so I can't read them all out, but I'll try. I have already picked out a few. It's from Chris Wilde. It says, Chris, thanks for everything that you've done for the club last month. If offered a role by the new owners to be on the board in some capacity, would you be interested?
I doubt it. No, so I'm very lucky that I do enjoy my job. It's a varied job. To be frank, I'm well paid in that job. And yeah, so I think I'd like to get to the stage where I can effectively hand the keys over to somebody that's going to be a good buyer and go back to just watching it, basically, yeah.
Becoming a fan again.
Yeah, exactly.
Revs has said, what is the main concern you have regarding any new owner?
Well, I hope it's obviously what I want from a Wednesday fan's point of view is I want the new owner to have two things: one, the necessary cash, and two, a good strategy. And so I'm hopeful that we can get both of those. But you know, the people that are interested so far, obviously I can't tell you who they are, but all of them know how to run a business. So they've all made money running businesses. They've all got cash. So I think whoever it ends up being, we're going to be in a much better position than what we've been last few years. Yeah.
Now, it's from Adam. He says, this feels like a landmark moment for the club and a real opportunity for a long-term plan. What criteria will you be using to determine the best possible future owners? I suppose you've already answered that question a little bit in that you don't really have much of a say, but I suppose what criteria are they? You mentioned EFL.
Yeah, they've got to pass the EFL fit and proper, and they've got to satisfy us that they've got the cash to make the business viable, but beyond that, it is who makes the best offer.
This is an anonymous one. Can Chris advise that if NDAs are breached, is the potential buyer or buyers removed from the process, and does this include people promoting prospective buyers on social media on their behalf?
Yeah. I think it's unlikely that the kind of buyers you're talking about will have given proof of funds for 50 million quid. So it probably is irrelevant.
Okay. Another anonymous one. Can either of you confirm if the 28-day advertising period is enforced by the EFL? From the Trust minutes, it sounded like it would not be enforced and is only to ensure pre-pack administration, whereas Chris's statement on the club's website yesterday seemed to imply it was mandatory.
I don't think they'd enforce it. So if somebody had come in and made a brilliant offer by now and we could demonstrate that that's slightly as good as it's going to get, I think there'd be negotiations to be had with the EFL. But I think in terms of where we are with so many interested parties, it's just unlikely it will be resolved inside that period anyway.
Yeah. Another anonymous question. From your position as administrator, is there a scenario where the best bid, i.e. outcome for the creditors, is one that ends in a 15-point deduction next season? And quite a few other questions about this potential 15-point deduction maybe next season as well.
Yeah, so the club has obviously got a 12-point deduction for going into administration. There is the potential for further deductions for the breaches that the club has made over the past year, so not paying HMRC, not paying player wages, etc., etc. So if we do get any further point deductions in that regard, we're keen for that to be this season and not to roll into next season. What the person who's asked the question is probably referring to is there is some effectively EFL guidance that any new buyer needs to pay all of the creditors 25 pence in the pound, otherwise there could be further sanctions. So in terms of the debt that Chancery's got, he's owed 120 million, roughly speaking. However, 60 million pound of that is owed by Sheffield 3 Limited. So Sheffield 3 Limited doesn't form part of the EFL guidance. He's then owed, I think it's about 54 million pound by the football club. So that would form part of the 25 pence in the pound. So roughly speaking, say 14 million pound would be paid to him by the new buyer, unless the purchaser decides to negotiate that and negotiate that point with the EFL, because what's not really being tested is whether the EFL will effectively apply that rule to the owner that's led to this position, because obviously what it's really there for, the spirit of the law is that it's to protect the creditors that have lost money. So we don't know whether the potential bidders will effectively try to negotiate on that, and we don't know what EFL stance will be. But as things stand, we're anticipating that they'll have to give about 14 million to him, and then obviously more money to the other creditors.
I mean, obviously you've had a look at some of the books, I'm sure, looked at the finances. I mean, you can say, you might not want to say, but what does it look like? Is it as bad as what we all thought as Sheffield Wednesday fans?
It was bad from a cash flow point of view, in that it was losing a lot of money. But the amount of actual creditors from parties outside himself isn't that great. So, you know, there's a few million to HMRC, there's about £7.5 million that's secured against the ground. There is some local suppliers that haven't been paid for supplying the pitch, the training ground stuff. But yeah, in the grand scheme, you're talking about millions rather than tens of millions.
Yeah. I've finished with the questions, Chris. Is there anything that you perhaps want to say to people in here or people that are watching as well?
No, just thank you ever so much for your support. I suppose the one thing just to cover off, we are comfortable that we've got the cash flow to effectively trade through now until at least the end of January. We're hoping that after that we won't be in place, hopefully even sooner. That is dependent obviously on the supporters buying tickets and buying merchandise at the level that we're expecting. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for all the support that you've given.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Now we'll bring our second and third guests of the evening up. First one, born in Sheffield, played between the sticks for Wednesday in the late 70s before leaving and returning once again in the 80s. Played in the 91 League Cup final and has a winner's medal to show for it as well, before returning early 2000s to manage the club as well. Please can you put your hands together for Mr. Chris Turner. And we also have a man that you would have no doubt shouted some expletives towards at some point.
Well, they used to shout at me, expletives.
Well, yeah, there is that as well. He's ref the Euros and the FA Cup final, and former head of the PGMOL. You're warm welcome. Put your hands together for Keith Hackett as well, please. Chris, let me come to you first. You spent a lot of time at the club over the years. Can you just kind of, obviously 2 stints as a player, 1 stint as manager. What does Sheffield Wednesday mean to you, Chris?
Well, everything. I mean, from being here, I think 2-3 months ago, I mean, the difference now. Everything that I hoped would happen has happened. The demise of Chancery has been difficult.
Can we not use his name, please, Chris? We don't use his name.
No. Well, the demise of the cunt was good. But no, I mean, I've followed this football club since I was 4-year-old when my mum and dad took me to Spurs on the train to watch Sheffield Wednesday in the early 60s, and followed it all the way through. We used to go and stand on the cop with the mates and all that, then obviously played and managed for the club. And even though as a professional footballer I played for 4 or 5 other clubs, this has always been the club for me for obvious reasons. And as Chris has just been saying there earlier, even though it's difficult times and sad times and no club wants to go into administration, if that's the only way we could get that person to leave, then we'll take the pain that's coming up in the next few months. But I think it's going to be quite a while before it's settled.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, are you happy that the previous regime is now over and we can, as a football club, just look forward now, Chris?
Well, I think the main thing for me going forward is I thought the heart was ripped out of the club over the last 10 years. The first couple of seasons, as was explained at the meeting last time, there was some finance put into the team, and I think we saw it with a number of players that were playing for the club and the salaries that they were earning at the time, and they produced the goods and got to 2 playoffs and the playoff final. But the main thing for me about the club, you were never made welcome as an ex-player really, apart from the certain core of people who work for the club. But the club itself, I mean, I remember asking for a ticket. I don't want free tickets, and I didn't want a ticket in the box. And I got the message back that Mr. So-and-so will have to clarify it because the box is busy on Saturday. So then it came back that I could go with my son and sit in the box. And I'm not bothered about sitting in the box, I'll sit anywhere in the ground. Anyhow, I was in the box, and when I got there on the Saturday, the box was absolutely empty. I was sat on a row with nobody in front, nobody behind, a few people on the front row we obviously expect to see. And there was nobody, and nobody made you feel welcome. And you felt as though you were being an obstacle to them. And every club that I worked for outside of being a footballer, we've always made the former players make them welcome. And you just didn't feel, I didn't feel welcome. And I know talking to the other lads from my era and everybody, you know, players like that, never felt really welcome back at the club. And I only met the person once, and I actually brought a team of Thai players to the club. And he was on the side of the track, and the person went and spoke to him, and he came back, and he begrudgingly stood with the people from his own country and had his picture took, and then straight away got up and walked up the tunnel. And I thought, wow, that's unbelievable. That's with his own people. Didn't even speak to him. And that's how I found him. And I spoke with him, with Brian Laws 4 years ago, and Brian and myself offered to help him free of charge. And help him. He was having a difficult time with the fans, with the team, and all he kept talking about was how fortunate Sheffield United were and the lucky manager they got, blah, blah, blah. And we offered to help him, and he didn't even acknowledge that. So I think it's great he's gone, and I'd really hope that whoever buys the club, it's not just spending money on the first team, it's building up an academy and getting everything right behind the scenes, but it's putting soul back into the club. And the fans, you know, ticket prices and everything like that, put it at a real affordable prices for the fans, and get that real feeling for the club back, which I know a lot of people have not been going for a number of years. I bump into them lots of times, simply for the fact that they felt that the club were just going beyond the fans. Now we need to bring him back, and I think the first thing that our owner could do is get all the fans back on board, not just because he's putting money in, but he wanted to bring that soul back to the club, in my opinion, that's been lacking.
I feel that's kind of happened already, to be fair. I mean, I've heard what Chris Wigfield's been saying. What did you make to what he's had to say?
Well, it's very difficult because what is a good owner? What is a good owner? I don't want somebody coming to the club and spending a lot of money early doors, getting a little bit bored after 2 years if success is not achieved. And then the dream that they all must be thinking about. Nobody puts £50 million down and putting millions into the club. Their goal will be to get into the Premiership where the big money is. And but finding that owner that's going to do the other things to the football club, what we're going to do with the ground. Are we going to stay at Hillsborough? Are we going to redevelop Hillsborough? I'd love, for a personal point of view, to see Leppings Lane redeveloped, knocked down, rebuilt up in the new statue that they were planning for the Euros. I mean, because while ever we are at Hillsborough, that's always going to be a stigma. I mean, I played in there when there was nobody behind the goals. It was horrific. I was there on that particular day. So I think that, you know, and the training ground, we want to just leave the training ground for the academy and go and build a new training ground. There's all these things to be added on that really needs doing for the club. It's going to be a major rebuild for somebody, and a lot of money.
What type of owner do you want? I don't want names, Chris, but what type of owner, you know, in terms of what qualities do you want to see from the people that come in, or the group that potentially might buy Sheffield Wednesday? What do you want them to do, first and foremost?
Well,
you've mentioned a few already.
Being an owner of a football club, I mean, there's been several owners at a lot of clubs. They all get patted on the back. That's sometimes why people do like to become an owner, because initially they become the saviour, the one who's putting the money in. Everybody appreciates it, but it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter which football club you're at. The fans soon turn against the owners because they're either not playing any more money in, or not putting enough money in, or not doing this, not doing that. So I think it's going to be very difficult, and it's not going to be an easy job for Chris and the others who have to decide who is going to redevelop the club on the top. I just want somebody who's got a real, I mean, really, you'd want somebody who is a real Sheffield Wednesday fan, who wants to do it because he's won a load of money in the lottery and he can afford to put money into the club and run it how we as fans would like a football club to be run. But we know you can't run a football or a business like that. It's going to be run on the business side.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously, you know, like I say, you've been on the pitch at Hillsborough, you've been in the dugout as well. You know, are you surprised with the response that the fans have had? You know, we've come back in our droves. We weren't there at the Middlesbrough game. There was, what, 7,000 fans, probably, what, 3,000 of us in there. And then you fast forward to literally Saturday, 28,000 in against Oxford. You know, does it surprise you that, or did you expect that from us?
I expected 40,000. You know, no, I think that that's why they've got a number of people who want to buy the club, because they know what the potential is of what they can get and what sort of crowds we can get, and it's always, you know, I mean, this club could have been sold, I'm sure, 4 months ago if it would have been put up at the right price, and they'd have sold it and just disappeared, and he would have probably got more money than what he's going to get. It's just amazing what he's done. I mean, in some respects, he may think he's had the last laugh in respect that we've had to take a 12-point hit and some further more point hits in the future. But it's I just want somebody who wants to come and take this club over with the right mindset and understands what he needs to do to make this club and get it back where it should be.
Chris, have you got a message for the fans at all?
Well, I mean,
say anything?
when I was asked to come here tonight, I came because to say thank you to all the people who have actually endured over the last number of years, number of months especially. You know, the ones who went on the marches and who went and were getting hammered by other parts of fans, and people who bought black and yellow scarves, people who were protesting, and people who even came to the games when people told them to boycott. I think everybody, every single fan, in some shape or form, has played a major part in getting where we are today. And I personally would like to thank you from me, because sitting on the outside looking at it all, it's been a total disaster in my eyes for the last certainly 8 years, and to get the person to leave the club has been absolutely massive, and everybody's played the part, and it's a massive thank you to everybody.
Cheers, Chris. Right, I'll come to Keith. Thanks for joining us. Pleasure. As always. First of all, when did your affinity to Sheffield Wednesday all begin? I know probably quite a few years ago.
I was about that high. I was born and bred in Portwood Springs, and my father was a steel worker. He loved his pigeons, the pub, and his football team. And on Saturdays, I can remember just eagerly waiting to be walked from Portwood Springs down through the valley to Hillsborough, stopping at the pub on the way. Mine was a pop and a bag of crisps. My dad, probably 3 or 4 pints or more. And then getting to Hillsborough and surfed on the top of the cop, the spectators, down to the front. And now I'm going to surprise you, because that is when I suddenly saw Derek Dooley play. And he became my hero. And I must admit that throughout my career, obviously sad that Derek passed, but I was always treated royally by him. And it's interesting that Chris talked about the lack of connection with former players. I would just say one thing. As the boss of the PGMOL many years ago, my role was to actually select, deliver, educate, train, whatever, professional referees. I was written at the start. I put forward the view that we needed professional referees. The reason behind that, I devoted 23 years of refereeing at the highest level, and if I told you that I lost a couple of jobs by that, and then on one occasion I had to charter an aircraft. I think I paid 3,000 plus for my house, and I had to charter an aircraft in order to get back for a board meeting. But that's history. The reality is, I can remember as the boss of the PGMOL contacting Hillsborough saying I needed 1 ticket to be able to watch a young referee that I'd selected to come to Hillsborough. It was convenient, drive from Burncross, park the car, and close, rather than having to go to London 2 or 3 times a week. No ticket available, they said. I couldn't believe it. And so I just purchased the ticket and watched from the North Stand, the match official. And when on Monday went in to talk to Scudamore, who was then Premier League CEO, they asked where I'd been, and I told him what had happened. I was privy to that phone call that he had with Sheffield Wednesday. So it's not new. That connection with the fan base, that connection with its former players, fortunately, is going to change. And that change is important.
Yeah, I mean, obviously talking about the previous owner, obviously you know full well kind of what we've been going through and things. Did you ever see it ending at all? Because there were certainly points where I thought this might go on for quite some time.
No, I think every time I drove past Hillsborough, I saw it just as a diminishing sort of building. You know, I have a very close friendship with Andre Pelele. He's the head of Macron. He's the guy that sits in front of the negotiators at Hillsborough to do the kit deal. So I know him really, really well. And last season, I got a phone call, Keith, come and join me for a meal and a cup of tea at Hillsborough. And I dived at the chance. And we sat there, we had an awful meal, and one of the guests asked for a cup of tea. And if I told you, the answer was no. And the outcome was about half an hour later, this kid who was working the box arrived with a plastic cup, a tea bag in it, no milk and no sugar. And that epitomised for me where Hillsborough was. and how far we've drifted. Remember, this was a club that had one of the best stadiums, and you know, we've all been there. We've watched the Johnny Phantoms and the Megsons and the Springets, all those people and the passion. Just so sad. And the one thing that you can be very, very proud of, you people sat in this room, you made it happen. You made it happen. You made the sacrifices. Incredible what you've achieved.
I just want to point out as well, you mentioned there, the young lad that gave the cup of tea. I think we've seen in the past couple of weeks, it's probably not the staff that is the problem. It was everyone stepped up to the plate in the past couple of weeks. Whether that's people in the ticket office or anywhere, they've all done a magnificent job, and I think it was all kind of hamstrung by that person at the top, really. Just want to talk about kind of, just in terms of the fans, as we kind of touched on it there, how much the fans have played their part, with the boycotts and things, and not going to the games, not buying the shirts, not buying all that sort of stuff. Did you think that would happen? Did you think that fans would stay away? Because obviously football, you know yourself, football means so much to so many people, that for people to actually make that sacrifice as well. Did you think that would happen?
Well, I've been very fortunate in my long career as a referee to be in the company of the likes of Tommy Docherty, of Bill Shankly, of many of the top managers, both here and around the world. And I've sat in stadiums, both here and overseas, and refereed in them. And I've always, when I attend Hillsborough, recognised the passion. There are clubs that are scattered around the country. Every club's got its own set of fans and the passion, but at Hillsborough, it's always been a strong passion, a demanding group of spectators, and we've shown, or the club have shown, the team, the fans have shown in recent days what can be achieved. And this is the start of the momentum. How lucky the club is to have an administrator who understands the game, is passionate about the game, and has made changes in only a few games that have impacted so strongly on the game across the country. When you consider you've got Lord Bunkett, you've got Clive Betts, and you've got people in power, or former people in power, that have influence, and they couldn't make a change, you made the change. You made it happen. And I'd say one other thing. BBC Radio Sheffield and the Football Heaven team, Rob in particular, have been phenomenal. I think as Wednesday fans, we've all turned on the radio at 5 to 6, waiting for the news, and then listening to fans phoning in. Football's a disease. We've all got it. It's incurable. There's no cure. And therefore I think passion is important. Hillsborough's got it in bucket loads. But Chris is right. Leppings Lane needs downing. The club needs an infrastructure, lick of pain, And when I sat and watched that goal go in last night by Barry Bannon, bloody hell. You've gone, wow. That sets it across the country. Anybody that's watching in around the world, because this is a story not just that's resonated in England, in a small village. This is on a world stage. People wanting to know what's going to happen. Because if we're clear, this can happen to any club in this country. And, we're all waiting, I think, having supported the idea of a football regulator, we're all waiting now as to how much battle and what powers that regulator's going to have. Because the one thing is this, I've sat in the meetings of the Premier League. I've sat when the risk of where to park the helicopter is. The number of people that sit in power that are clueless about our game, but they got the money. And I don't think money is just the answer here. I think whoever takes over this club has got to take it over for long term, and it's got to be put on the right foundation and the right pathway.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I asked Chris the same one. What would your ideal owner of Sheffield Wednesday look like from your perspective? I don't mean physically, by the way. I mean,
Well, I think when we look at the ownership, you ideally want passion. The risk always is that somebody's going to take over, and it's like buying a house, and it needs a lot of repair, and they do all of it, and then they put it on the market for sale. And therefore I think the worry has to be, is this a short-term gain for someone with a bit of pain in terms of putting the money up? Because I can tell you across the board, and I'm fortunate to have travelled to many, many countries around the world. When you talk and watch sports in America, right, the cost of English clubs is cheap. The cost of running the clubs, cheap. Even the players' wages compared to, say, American football and all that goes with it is low. And they recognise it. And so they're coming in and looking at it as an asset, potentially, with the chance of earning money. Just like the Glazers did, who are pockets rich, but a club that's still got poor infrastructure.
Great stuff. Keith, massive thanks for coming up. Do really appreciate it. We'll go and put your hands together for Keith.
Thanks, guys. Chris Turner, thank you. Brilliant speech. Keith, thank you for coming. I appreciate it, mate. All good words. Yeah. We're just about to have a bit of a break and fetch some food in, guys, believe it or not. So we'll set up back with a bit of grub for you. We'll get it in and we'll have 20 minutes, half an hour. All right, so get at bar and have a drink. All right, thank you. First up, bit of a change in order. We've got who's become a very close friend of mine and travels to matches with me. Jake used to organise all protests. He's top lad, absolutely top lad. Him and his mate Otto Brooks. Jake's going to say a few words. Jake Lee.
Cheers, guys. Decent turnout this. I think it's more than United took overnighting it to Coventry. Right. So I'm known as the non-serious one on board. They're laughing, but I think I'm being on a social media policy for ages of watching everything that I say. So yeah, I'm not going to be very serious, but I'll try and just get a bit of information on some things that the trust have been doing. Basically, when the administration was announced, we had a board meeting and a bit of a reshuffle. Me being protest guy, I was sort of a bit redundant, for want of a better word. So they had to come up with something a bit different for me. So what I've been doing is I've been actually spending time with the club. I actually had a meeting with the club, which was unbelievable. I went from leaflet wafter to speaking to the club in a box, which was just unbelievable. And I've got something really, really special to announce, which is surrounding the fundraising effort that everybody's done. So I'm sure you're all aware, the trust donated £20,000, which were basically what we'd got left from protests and stuff. We took ourselves basically back down to basics, our bank account back to where it were before we asked everybody for money, and essentially gave the club £20,000. On the back of that, we launched a GoFundMe to try and raise some more money, and Christ, did we raise some more money. I think as I speak now, we're up to about 60,000 quid. So in total, and if United had done it, they'd have raised beats on toast. Well, there you go. So anyway, this bit is a bit serious, which don't suit me because I'm always daft one, but I have got to be a bit serious. So the last few weeks have proved that Sheffield Wednesday supporters can do the impossible repeatedly, and usually without a deadline of yesterday. We as fans have raised an incredible amount of money. We said we'd support the club through administration, and the fan base is delivering. Over the last few weeks, the Sheffield Wednesday fan base has shown exactly what it means when we talk about community, commitment and loyalty. What you've achieved is nothing short of astonishing, and tonight I'd like to update you on where things stand following the most recent meeting with the football club. At the meeting on Monday, which I went to personally, the club, and this bit is very important, they didn't just thank the trust, they thanked every single one of you guys here and every single person in the support in the wider fan base that's helped this club out immensely. We did things that we didn't want to do, and this is way off, throw that in bin. We did things as a fan base that were unbelievable. We made sacrifices that James spoke about earlier. There's guys in here, I mean, there's Callum's here, and Rob, and Harry, and Liv, and there's so many people to mention. I think Goose Craig, who's done all the graphics for everything that we've done for free. There's a lad here that's helped us sell scarves I'm talking about you. Every time we've sold scarves, he's been there. There's so many people that we'd like to thank. But it's not just about that, it's about what we do moving forward. We don't let that happen ever again. What's happened's happened. We move forward. So I don't need that. In the meeting that we had with the club, we talked about how we could spend this money, right? And that's supporters' money, it's not our money, it's supporters' money. What the club very, very generously offered to do is to offer us as a supporters' trust and you guys that's put all that money in a sponsorship. Right? It's a sponsorship that's got no commercial gain for anybody. It's going to be on the back of the shorts. So that what you see there is going to go on the back of Sheffield Wednesday's shorts. That is unbelievable. It's not happened before. So that we as fans have sponsored the club, and they've been unbelievable in facilitating that. That sponsorship will go on the back of the shorts. They've offered us some breathtaking things when you consider what we've had in past. We've had a chairman that won't do anything for community, won't do anything for fans, won't do anything for young kids. The club are going to give us mascot packages till the end of the season that we can give to underprivileged kids that would never, ever be mascots. That's unbelievable. They've offered us tickets to give to kids that haven't been to games before, so we can basically reach out to kids that might not have been to a game before and get the parents to take them. The club have been so facilitating in all of this, it's so refreshing. So on top of that, we had some shirts, Trust shirts that we launched. We had Steve Bracknell saying get out of our club and all that kind of thing. We never actually fully launched them. We're going to. The club are going to put them in the club shop, which, you know, how far have we come? We've come from protesting against an ownership to selling shirts in shop. And on the back of that, them shirts are Sheffield Children's Hospital shirts, so there'll be donations to Sheffield Children's Hospital. Community things that this club haven't done for 10 years under that prick. Right. Told you I can't behave. Right. So yeah, one last thing that I maybe should mention is we had a team of volunteers throughout all of this that have been absolutely excellent. I spoke to the club about this. Can we utilise them volunteers? Of course you can, with the answer, which, you know, absolutely blew me away. So the club are looking for volunteers to help people on match day. People that might say, where's my seat? And it's a guy that's been selling scarves, he's now going to be saying, that's where your seat is. Initiatives, community things that we've not had before. And not like to draw this to a close, I'd just like to say, I cannot believe that I'm stood here talking about my football club and your football club, Sheffield Wednesday, that are going to work with us moving forward. They really are. I mean, we might get another owner in that doesn't, but we know what to do if that happens. Yeah, we don't put up with it. We don't put up with anything that happened before, ever again. We work with the club will work with us, we're moving forward, together, as one, as Steve Bracknell would say, we'll do it. Alright, thank you very much, guys.
There's something here I'm going to share with you now. It backs onto what Jake's just said. So we've got a big cheque with a big number on it. That's the number, 78,572. That's it.
Good on it, Jake. Jake, good on it.
All right, guys. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks everybody, because everybody's contributed to that. That's incredible, isn't it? That shows what we are, doesn't it? Yeah? Right. Next up is I'm going to call them 4 horsemen at apocalypse. These guys, including Mr. Rob Brooks, planned Mr. Chansiri's downfall, and I don't like his name being mentioned. But some of these guys are the guys who work behind the scenes tirelessly on planning the finances, etc., etc. We've got Mr. Steve Chew, Mr. Rob Brooks, Paul Taylor, who's going to say a few words on community, and Mark Johnson over here. Please give them a round of applause. These guys are special. Thank you.
So I don't want to say very much. You've not come here to listen to me or us, really.
all I really want to say is that I joined the trust board 4 or 5 months ago. This is, we've done a lot of our work virtually and on WhatsApp. This is probably the 4th or 5th time I've ever met Jake. I've got to say I've never felt prouder to be part of a group than what I have done the last few weeks and months. It has been a real team effort. I thank Ian as chair for welcoming us onto the board because we were made to feel really welcome. I'm going to tell a little story about one thing that happened one week which has become a bit of an in-joke to us on the trust board, and it was the week of the Leeds game, which ended with the Portsmouth game on the Saturday. So it was in the middle of all the protests, and we thought at the start of the week, or our treasurer thought, we should just check with our insurers and maybe up our cover, just some of our activities, we might get into a bit of trouble. So put the phone call into the insurers, can we increase our cover? On the Friday morning, we started to get rumours that we were about to be sued by the former owner of the trust, the club. Don't know whether it's true or not, but they were the rumours we were picking up. And that afternoon, our insurers came back to us and said they could not insure us because some of our activities could constitute ideological terrorism. So after laughing, Jake was down in Portsmouth with 4 new leaflets which were about to be dished out, and we were having serious chats about, can we actually distribute these leaflets? Are we going to get? Are we going to be personally liable for this?
I've never told my missus that, so if this is going out,
I only told her. So
lose your house.
So we did appeal, and after 2 or 3 weeks, the insurers apologised to us. But it's a light-hearted story, but I think you hear a lot about the time and energy that loads of people have put into this. But I do want to say that group of 11 people on the board took some personal risk to do what we've done over the past few weeks, and I've been really proud to be part of that.
So I'm just going to share one story that's impacted me most of all from being involved with these amazing people. And we decided in April last year that it'd be a really good idea to buy a coffin and march it from the Crucible to Hillsborough. So one of the board members, Ian Simpson, bought a cardboard coffin online. And when the delivery driver dropped it off and he said, coffin for Chancery, allowed a thought to go across my mind. Think of his family. No, mate, but drop it here. Anyway, unfortunately, the Pope died. And on the Saturday that we were due to do the coffin protest, and this is in April, the Pope was being buried. So obviously, it would have been extremely wrong to have a funeral march on the day that the Pope died. The downside of that for me is that because we couldn't use the coffin, it had to stay in my garage. And we didn't use it till September. And at the top of my to-do list for 4 months from my wife was get rid of coffin. So, we some of us suffered, but I don't think anybody suffered as much as me for that 4 months. And I'll just finally say, eventually, these guys carried it through Hillsborough. It made a fantastic. These guys have been amazing, by the way. That coffin that I painted badly in the back garden ended up on the New York Times and the Times of London. So, eventually I'm sure it were all worth it. Not sure it was. Thanks very much. Cheers.
He's actually missed out my favourite part of the coffin story, because it's when it was delivered by the delivery people to Mark's house. And Mark, he delivered it, and Mark said, actually, we don't really need it anymore. I thought, Uncle Lazarus is feeling a lot better here.
Right, just briefly, I'm the Trust Community Director, and I work closely with Kelly Barrett over there, who's the EDI Director. Our work sort of begins to start now, really, but as somebody who's thinking about how the Trust can work in the community, I think the last few weeks have really demonstrated how important to the community Sheffield Wednesday and Hillsborough is. We're already an asset of community value. Hopefully we'll get that renewed next year. But it's also the last few weeks have opened things up with the club as well. So it means we can start having good conversations with the community programme. The club are actually now reaching out. We've got a meeting about equality and inclusion with the club next week. So lots of things are developing. The other thing that I've got to tell you is that we've been thinking that what we really need is a youth ambassador for the Trust, because we're concerned that we've not really reached out to young people, that the way things have been over the last few years hasn't helped us to reach out to young people. Now is a fantastic opportunity to get more young people involved in the work of the Trust. And so, and this news only broke this afternoon, you'll have heard of Shay's triathlon, won't you? Everybody's heard of Shay and his triathlon. Well, Shay is going to be our new youth ambassador. And he's here at the back. Shay, do you want to stand up? So as if Shay wasn't already doing enough, he's going to come and work with the Trust as our youth ambassador. And what Shay's going to do is pull together a youth forum so we can properly hear what young people have to say and really get young people's views and contribute that into the work of the Trust as well. So I would think, Shay, by the next time we all stand here, you'll be stood here as well with a microphone on, which I know you can do because I know you do that stuff. So that's really good as well. So as I say, things are really opening up now. The club are reaching out to us. Everything's opening up. We can go for it. So thank you.
Just one last thing and a serious point before we go. We've seen what strength in numbers can do over the last few weeks and months. When your renewal comes round to rejoin the Trust, please rejoin it. The more numbers we've got, the more influence we've got in our negotiations with the club going forward. So please stay members of the Trust, and we'll hopefully make it worth your while.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers. I don't know if anybody wants a last go before we draw a raffle. I'm going to ask these guys to draw a raffle. Then I'm going to ask Roger and Terry to come up. But anybody want to go on raffle before we draw it? Go on then. What happens if I pull mine out? Yeah. 26, your next one. 26, your one over there. 50. $38. 5. Number 5. Okay, thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everybody, for putting in. That's brilliant. That. Cheers.
Now I'm delighted to say that we're joined by a man who played 138 games for Sheffield Wednesday, scoring 39 goals, although he'll probably tell me that I've got that wrong because I didn't get that off Wikipedia, honest. He famously scored in Boxing Day Massacre, and some of you no doubt will have been a part of his fan club back in the day as well. Please put your hands together for Mr. Terry Curran. Now, next guest as well, coming through the ranks at Sheffield Wednesday, is a youngster Club for 8 years or so, 150 games, over 50 goals as well. His nickname was Oscar. Please put your hands together as well for Mr. Roger Wilde.
He's there every fucking where, Roger Wilde.
Terry, I'll come to you first while we're waiting for Roger. He needs a microphone. He joined the club back in '79, spent 3 years at the club. Terry, just tell everyone, what does Sheffield Wednesday mean to you?
Well, I'm a supporter of Sheffield Wednesday since 1966. But when you're players, you know, you're going to move on. Things happen, you stop pissing about. I'm not messing tonight. But it's always been my life. I mean, when I was a kid, my idol was George Best. And my idol here was Jim McCallion. And my name is not Terry, it's Teddy. I've got a brother called Terry. And the press used to call me Terry. So they always used to get things mistaken with me. And they used to say to them, why do you keep doing this? But they just carried on with it. And that's what the press are. But the club itself, people used to say to me, when I joined in, I dropped out of the first division to come down here, third division, two leagues. I remember Alan Baldwin absolutely ballistic. What are you going over there for? And I said, I'm going because it's a team I supported. And Maurice Setters, who signed me at Doncaster Rovers, he was the one that rang me up and said, look, why don't you come and join us? You know, and then I thought, why not? I want to get them back into first. I didn't think once I came here, when we got out of that third division, we Championship 1 now, isn't it? Championship 1. I didn't think we'd ever go back down there. We're in a bigger mess now than we've ever been in. You know, it's horrible because I'm one of them will tell it straight. Without fans, football clubs don't exist. This is a massive football club. Not trophy-wise, but we're the biggest team in Yorkshire for winning trophies, or the most successful team in Yorkshire. Did you know that?
Of course I know that, yeah.
We are the most successful team for winning trophies.
We keep telling them.
You know, but regardless what anybody says, without money, it's nothing. It is nothing. Because this day and age now, to try and compete with other football clubs, it's very, very difficult for the club. Who takes all the punishment? The club and the fans. And I don't say that for the fans' sake, I'm telling you that's what happens. We come and we go. Owners come and go, managers come and go. But the fans will always be with the club. And it's horrible to see it happen. And there's nothing you can really do, nothing we can do about it, only try and join in with the fans and support them and, you know, try and help them to achieve what they're trying to do. You know, I mean, when he first come here, he tried his best. But all he's done is taken us down and made it worse by being stubborn. And the fans have turned against him, and rightly so. We're in this horrible situation. Right? Players used to say to me, what is it with Sheffield Wednesday? I mean, Everton reading all of them used to say to me, what is it with you with Sheffield Wednesday? I said, and it is a massive football club. We might not win the trophies now, but you have to have money because you cannot compete with the big clubs. You know, they've made it more difficult now for these teams, right? That it's becoming more and more difficult. And there will be, make no mistake, there will be a World Super League. There will be a World Super League because I saw it with foreign players coming in, and I saw it with foreign coaches coming in. When I used to write about it, and people used to say to me, never happened, never happened. Well, it's happened. It's happened.
Yeah, I mean, before we get on to kind of things, kind of moving forward, obviously we've got Southampton this weekend, then we've got the international break, then we have the big one, the Steel City Derby. Terry, I can't speak to you and not mention the Boxing Day massacre. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Ardee Neighbours 0. Do you still have a vivid memory of that day?
I remember meeting up at Rutland Hotel, that's where we used to be. He left you out for this game, didn't he? What was it? Well, you'll tell them why they left you out for this game. I mean, I've been serious now. Roger Well, I can't keep... Tell him to stop asking me questions.
He's only asked you one. He's been talking for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know you want to go home, but you're staying. You're not leaving tonight. It was at Rutland. We had to meet at Rutland Hotel, didn't we? And we then would travel because there were buses were on strike that day. There were no buses that day. And they gave 49,000. Now, this is where I think the club cheated, because if there were 49,000 there that day, I'll stand drop of York, because you could not move anywhere without. And outside, people were telling me there were thousands still outside. That's how big it was. The build-up for a month was unreal, because they hadn't played for 10, 12 years or something like that. And to play in it, I remember coming down the tunnel, Kenworthy and McPhail. True story. Kenworthy and McPhail turned around and said to me, "We're going to break your fucking legs today." I said, "You're not quick enough, and you'll never be good enough to get near me." You know, and that's the thing about it. Once you play for the club and all, the team who you support. Oh, I forgot you were United, aren't you? Well, Tony Curry fan. He's a big Tony Curry fan. And a great player, by the way. But no, I do remember it. I remember if they equalise, you don't know what happens in the game. They missed a complete sitter. And then we finished up pounding them, you know, in a 4-day massacre. And it's still sang today, the song. Last night, to see the atmosphere last night and the relief on fans' face and everything about the club last night, well, just so happy about it. That's what we want to see again back there.
Yeah, you was there last night.
Yeah.
What was it like to see fans back in the ground? And you know, I mean, because the atmosphere, obviously, when Barry Bannon's goal went in, if there was a roof on Hillsborough, it would have come off, wouldn't it, really?
I used to say to Jack, stop getting on to maybe Jeff King or Ian Miller. Stop getting on to them, because if fans are getting on to them, we're going to be losing a player. You know, so we as players, we need the fans. It's all right for me, because I could accept that. I used to accept all the bollocks from Jack. But just like the club needs the fans, the players need the fans. And Middlesbrough, I agree with them what they did, and it's helped get rid of him. It's helped get rid of him. But that's what needed to happen. And to see it last night, you know, 28, 30,000 people there again. Fantastic. And it's all down to the fans. Not just you lot what's in here. The 28, 30,000 fans, what we give into the games now. And we'd sell out if we were challenging in the Premier League for trophies. We would sell out every week.
Yeah, I mean, Terry, are you excited for the next chapter in Sheffield Wednesday? Like, what's to come in the future?
Football's too big now. I worry about other football clubs. We don't have the money. The only way we're going to get the money is by giving a multi-billionaire what's going to come in, what's going to afford to have his little toy and play with it, but have that business head what can run a football club without any debt.
What sort of owner then do you want to be at Sheffield Wednesday next?
Somebody what's going to run it properly. What's going to run it properly? They've got to have plenty of money for us to win major trophies. But if we don't get that, somebody what will be honest and just run the club properly. Who suffers? The club now has been deducted 12 points. Looks like another 15 points are going to come down the road. So the fans suffer with it, having to be paying more money out, you know, for shirts and everything else what they keep wanting to do with it. I just want somebody what's going to have enough money, well, plenty of money for us to, because I always said to players, if we get somebody a really good backer, you won't be able to go in the ground. You would not be able to go in that ground. It's a massive football club.
Terry, do you have anything to say to the fans at all? It's your opportunity.
Well,
I know Roger's thinking get off the microphone, but you know I've got a chance here.
I was thinking, don't ask him that.
I'll be 2 minutes. Thank you all for getting. I know you don't want to mention his name, so we're not mentioning his name because you have helped to get him out. And look, I didn't mean that to be horrible to him, but he knew.
You can be if you want.
No,
you can be horrible to him.
look, life's too short to be horrible to anybody. But what he's done to this football club, right? He even may have finished up losing money now on it. That's how evil he's turned out to be. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I've done enough talking.
Terry, it's been a pleasure. Can we give a round of applause for Terry Curran, everyone? Roger, I'll ask you, the same question I asked Terry as well, and I've asked everyone. Sheffield Wednesday, this magnificent football club. What's it mean to you? Because obviously you came through as a youngster as well, didn't you?
Yeah, as Terry said, I used to be a Sheffield United supporter when I was at school, mainly because my dad used to let me go with the lads who were a bit older than me, and Bramall Lane was just down the road. But then I became a Tony Curry fan, and I have to say this, Tony, I know Tony well now, and it's a bit like when Oasis said there would never have been an Oasis without the Beatles. Well, there would never have been, I don't know if any people here used to watch me play, but there would never have been a player I would never have been the player that I was if it hadn't have been for Tony Curry, so I thank him from the bottom of my heart for that. I love Tony Curry, and he's a great lad. Sheffield Wednesday means a lot to me because when you become a professional, it's your job, and you want to win for the team you're playing for. Players can be a bit fickle. I would have stayed at Sheffield Wednesday for 20 years, the 20 years that I was a professional footballer, but Jack Tarleton had other ideas, and I've only found them out really off Terry since I left, because Terry was always in Jack's office and he used to find things out. And Jack Charlton really killed me at Sheffield Wednesday by not having me in the team for that Boxing Day game. I was second leading goal scorer at the time. I knew he didn't like me as a player, and he was never going to put me on the subs bench, even though I was not in the starting lineup, because Terry told me years later that I was on the bench once at Hillsborough, and we were either drawing or losing, and the fans were chanting for me to come on. Didn't put me on. Never chant. If you want a player to come on, never chant for him, because the manager won't do it. And Jack Charlton said to Terry, well, that won't happen again. And Terry said, what do you mean? He said, he's not going to be sub ever again, because he didn't want to be told what to do. So I was never going to be involved that day. And that's when I decided to leave the club that I'd loved for 10 years and played for and really enjoyed, because the fans had taken to me. That's true, Terry, that, isn't it? That's true. Yeah. Go on, ask me the question about the one that you've asked everyone else.
No, I've got a different one actually, because yesterday you were there, obviously.
Yeah.
You mentioned, that we've got the club back, and we have, haven't we? We have really, got the club back, and when at times it felt like that perhaps wouldn't happen as well.
Is what? Say that again.
We've got the club back, haven't we?
Mm.
He's gone now.
Mm.
There were times, even to 3 weeks ago, where it didn't quite feel like that. It does feel like now.
Yeah.
Everyone's come together.
Yeah.
The community's back, and everyone's gone back to enjoying football once.
Well, you have said about what sort of person do you want to run the football club. Well, I'm still involved in football. I've been involved in professional football since I retired from playing, because I'm a chartered physio and I've been head physio at football clubs ever since, and still am. At my age, I know it's unbelievable, but I am. And I know I know what happens at football clubs when they do well. It's not how much money you put into a football club. It's not, and Terry said he wants someone to run a football club well, and yeah, you do, but there's no recipe to success in football. There's no recipe to failure, because if there was, everybody would choose the recipe for success. There is no recipe for success. You can chuck loads of money at it, but if the bloke you've got in charge of that football team does not buy the right players and play them correctly, you will go nowhere. So the trick is to get the right manager and hope he will bring in the right players. And I know. Listen, I'm talking now. You've had your half hour. And what happens is those players and the coaching staff gel and you're successful. And that's how you get a successful football team. So it doesn't matter how much money they put into it or how they run it, if they don't get the right players, you're not going to do it. So we hope that they appoint the right manager, these new owners, let him get on with it, back him, and hope that those players all gel and you'll be a successful football team again.
But it's not just manager though, is it? It's the, having that kind of a CEO, director of football, putting those people in place as well, isn't it really?
Yeah, it is, but the crux of a good football team is in the dressing room, is in the medical room. If you don't have a miserable, successful football club, you have a happy, successful football club. The other people who work in the offices, you don't really see them. You don't really have a lot to do with them. But I suppose they've got to do their job as well. But it's bringing the right players in, the right manager and the right players.
Do you have a message for the fans as well, Roger?
Well, you just got to keep supporting them. Yeah, keep supporting them, and you've done fantastically well. It's amazing. It was great. I've been to the last 2 games, and it's been a great atmosphere. I mean, it's just such a fabulous football club. As I said last night, we was with Chris Waddle and David Hurst, and Terry was there, Mel Sterling was there, lads who I've known a long time. And as we walked, we'd been signing autographs in the superstore and things, and as we walked round, I said to Dave, I said, look at this, what a great advert. The pitch looked great, the stadium looked great. We knew there was going to be, 30,000 people there. Any prospective buyer would go there and think, wow, this is worth taking over. So let's hope they do.
Great stuff. Let's put your hands together. Thank you very much.
I know the players need you, but definitely get behind the team. We need the fans to get right behind the team and try and get us back up this league as quick as possible. So just do your best for them.
Right, so it comes to that time. Question and answer time. All right, don't be too harsh. So we've got Mark with a mobile.
That's easy for you to say that.
Yeah, nearly. A microphone, right. We're all here, all members at Trust. If you want to ask a question, please put your arm up and let's get it asked. Okay, guys? Come on, who's first?
Should we get a question from online first?
Yeah, we'll do one online if we're all shy.
Got a question, anonymous question coming in. Can you consider hosting this kind of event at the stadium in future to allow A, more fans to attend, and B, raise money for the administrators, from food, drinks, etc. in the future?
I'll answer that, then I'll pass it on to the lads. But I don't see now we've got a relationship with the club why that can't happen. Having said that, these guys have facilitated it, and it's a big enough room at the minute. But if it needs to get bigger, yes, I don't see why not. And I think the club, it's a benefit the club because we'll be spending money behind the counter. But obviously, we don't want to upset anybody, and this place has hosted 3 now, and we've been quite happy with it. But if the club want to do that and they're willing to put that up, I don't see a problem. I don't know if any other lads have got an issue with that. No, I think it would be, it puts money back in the club, doesn't it? Yeah.
Got one from Richard. It says, good evening, Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust. I'm immensely proud to be a Trust member. My question is, will the Trust be involved with the future guidance of the new owner or owners of the club? This is paramount for any transparency moving forward with our fantastic club. And that's from Richard, the Newark Owl.
Hopefully not. We don't really want, I think I can speak for us all here, we We don't really want any involvement in the running of the football club whatsoever. Do we want involvement in stopping it being run badly? Yes. Do we want to hold the club accountable for its actions? Yes. Do we want to tell an owner what to do? No, because we hope that any new owner would do what a football owner should do. So, no, as far as we're concerned, we'll do what's needed, but we're quite happy to be sat on the sidelines without a shadow of a doubt.
Can I just add to that though? We've got a new regulator coming in, which at one point we thought the regulator would be the one to save us, but it's actually, obviously it's happened before that. But going forward, the way that we engage with the club and the way that all fan groups engage with the club is going to change. And what we don't want is what we had before with Chansiri, sorry I'm not saying dinner, is that he just didn't want to tell anybody anything. So there is going to be a change, and there are going to be things that we will have a seat at the table at. That won't be commercially or running the club, but obviously match day experience, things like that, we want to get on board and see how that works.
I think that's Mark, the Pittsmore Owl, putting his arm up over here.
I just want to say what Simon Jordan said. I thought that was really interesting. We don't want another points deduction, do we? And I think this 25 pence out of a pound, I think that needs proper answering with new owners with EFL. And if we ought to get another points deduction, it's got to be this season. We're not going to next season with a fresh start, aren't we? Do you know what I'm saying? I want to be honest with you. When we had Danny Rowe and he did the miracle, that team was a lot better than this team. Chances he's damaged this team. I don't see that happening. So I think a new owner needs to look at that. And if we do get a point deduction, let it happen this season. Bring the old owl back, run it bang same as what the administrator's done, and with a few quid. That's it, mate.
I think if we get the finances right, the extra 15 points don't come into it. That's if we don't pay the 25 pence to the non-footballing creditors. We have to pay all the footballing creditors off. So the key is to get everybody in through the gates and get Chris Wakefield and the administrators the money they need to pay that off. Now, something's happened today, and we've managed to get some high net worth individual that's placed some money in a bank account. Our guys have informed me tonight that's happened. So there ain't going to be a problem really with paying wages or the cash flow issues at the club anymore until the club's sold. So hopefully, if we can keep up what we've been doing, buying stuff in the club shop, let's donate, let's get as much money into the club as possible, show that we're all Wednesdayites, the extra points deduction won't happen. Now, there's going to be punishment coming along for what Chansiri did, we know that, but we hope that'll be this season. And that's not a given either, because we can always appeal that, but we hope that next year it'll be a clean slate, and by then we should have got most of the embargoes off and we can sign some players, perhaps not for money, but we'll get good frees and we can look into it and look into getting decent players, including some of our youth, because at the minute we can't sign some of youth players. How crazy is that? We've got some great kids coming through, so let's hope that's sorted. I hope that answers the question, yeah? This young lady here. Sorry, yeah. Right. Go on, mate.
Yeah, good evening all. My name's Bob Hallam. I've supported our lovely team since 1958 through thick and thin. Thank you. I sustained a fall in Malta on the 28th of May. In respect, I went out with my wife and a friend with my father's service in Malta 40 to 45. The club, Sheffield Wednesday, well, it means so much to me, and I cannot believe that I can't describe the words. He joined Sheffield Wednesday, and I was in the park at Hillsborough with the family, and I gave him my first Sheffield Wednesday pin badge. Presented it to him, said thank you in his language, whatever. And it's hard to say. I cannot believe he's helped me for various things, fundraising, past. But I cannot believe that person I met in Hillsborough Park 10 years ago has done all the damage he has to our football club. I just cannot believe how he's treated everybody. And just, as I say, I'm so happy. I went last night, I was with you might have seen me by the centre line. I was stood there with my blazer on, and I talked to a brigadier in the room with everybody, and I says, you'll have to exclude my trousers, sir, with a stripe. It's the wrong stripe. 13th, 18th is ours. And he had a chuckle. But to go down with my crutches, and what I'd like to thank all the staff who saw me well last night at the match. I was in the corner, right up at the away side, sat with 2 seats, and a lady got me a coffee, a pie, a blanket, and I want to thank a young man, 243. His name's Solomon, and 20 minutes before the end, sadly, I had to make my way up to the gymnasium near Sainsbury's because I've got a lift. And it's with that and the club and how the club treated me last night was tremendous. So I wish all you gentlemen, ladies, the club, all what you're doing with the group, all the very best. And as the song goes, we shall meet again. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Just while Mark's trying to put the microphone to this young lady, I want to say a few thanks, if that's all right. I'm sure everybody in this room, I'd wish to thank all the clubs that have helped us along the way. For instance, Leicester City, when we did the first demonstration, how impactful were that? They were incredible. What Wrexham did for us as a trust is unbelievable, selling the shirts, fantastic. Even Bolton in a League Cup game with a small crowd, give us some leaflets out, stuff like that. Pompey really worked well with us and their trust put something out for us. Every club that we visited were far, far better than what happened at Hillsborough. Now he's gone, totally different. The club are so open to us. And I want to thank all them football clubs who are out there who helped us and made us welcome. And I'm sure Jake will tell you they looked after banners for us, they helped facilitate, get them in ground. Unbelievable. And it was day and night between them clubs and what happened at Hillsborough. And now we've got rid of him. So that's one thank you I'd like to say. Secondly, yeah, thank you. Secondly, these guys, excuse me, these guys, James has done a lot for us, and we've got Steve here from other podcasts, and they're doing a joint cast together. Fantastic. I'm not mentioning their name, mate. You're all right, yeah. I forgot what they call it. Is it Wednesday week they call it? It's Fudgy's lot, isn't it? It's Fudgy's lot anyway, yeah. Yeah, superstar him now. Fudgy's lot, superstar, isn't he? That's it, yeah, all right. So, but listen, fantastic job, guys. It is. It's brilliant. Again, we aren't press, and I know they've gone now, but we aren't the press. We aren't these guys. We aren't the TV. Everybody knowing. Ex-players come, fantastic. John Tompkins facilitated a meeting, I said earlier, all helpful. John Green, who's not here tonight, he put something on for us and got a message out. I met some players and they've turned up tonight. Everybody who's helped, he's been unbelievable. On top of everybody who's supported us. But these guys, we won't get message out there without these guys. So thank these guys as well. All right. Young lady here.
I love that. Carry on. It's a comment rather than a question. There's been some fantastic initiatives come out tonight, and day by day I think I get more proud of this trust than ever. But one of my favourite initiatives that's come out tonight is the plan for the youth. Absolutely, I'm absolutely gobsmacked that this is something that's been needed for so long. The club have just not done enough for our future fans. When we're not here, these are the ones that are going to keep our clubs going. So, and I don't think you could have chosen anyone better than Shay. He's an absolutely amazing young man. I've followed him since he was a little kid, the things he does, and I think he's left now, bless him, but yeah, well done for that. And just one final thank you to the Trust, to every one of you. I don't think there'll ever be enough words to thank you for what you've done for us. And I know everybody's been involved, all the fans, but you've led this. And thank you to your families for what they've had to put up with. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say on top of what Ian said actually about other fan groups and what we've said, talking with Jake about this earlier. I mean, so Blackpool talked to the women's group as well, so a lot of fan groups have really helped us. But what we'll do for them is we'll do exactly the same. What Reading did for us can't be described because they've been through it. So we're going to make sure that we do exactly the same for other fan groups that get into this situation. Because this won't be the end of it. We won't be last club, and we want to make sure that we do what for other groups what they've done for us. So I just wanted to say that.
I just want to follow on from what this lady's just said. Obviously the community are going to start getting involved and getting people into the ground, but I think as a club, I don't know as a trust how much you're going to get involved with new owners. They might not want anything to do with us, but as a club we have not attracted fans at all for many a year. United have gone from being the second best supported club in this city to the best by far. We've got a loyal supporter base, but we need to go get new owners on board. We're going to be in League One. We're not going to be selling out every week. We want to be going in schools, everywhere, anywhere. 1,000 tickets every week on West Ham Lower, whatever. You know, getting positive press and just trying to build a new fan base. I mean, I know United fans who were Man United fans. You know, we're now United season ticket holders. Obviously, we don't know what the situation is with points deduction. We might start on no points, we might start on -15. But if we can start on no points, we can get a team together that can win games and get positive energy and just get people in the ground. Because, all right, we've got 20,000 people, but this club's never, ever been able to ride the uptake in average attendances like other clubs, you know. We can't sell out a derby against Leeds even, you know, because we've been that poor for 25 years. We've got so much and so far to go, and we just need to actually start building a fan base that we've not had. And that's something that hopefully the Trust, you guys and new owners can get together and something we can try and achieve.
I think one of the things I've noticed is from when my kids were little and we used to go, they were always Wednesday players visiting schools, always free ticket initiative. I think it were even when Derek Dooley were running development fund, or after that I think it was Dennis Woodhead and one or two others, right? And that development fund used to put tickets in schools, and you're right, that's where our fans came from. Give school kids kits. I walk on Shitless Valleyport, or used to, my dog's gone now, but with my dog, and every single junior team on there is playing in Blades old kits because they've donated to them, right? That's how we used to get. So I think you're right, that initiative needs to be taken up by that club, and we need to build it again and build them bridges. I still think we're the biggest club in the city. I still think when everybody turns out, there's still a lot more supportive, and the fan base is far better and far. And
yes, but we've got to get to that point where we've got 27, 28,000 around, not 20, 30.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, and it's to be honest, it's a small step in it. We've got to get young uns back and everything. So Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and it's people. We've got Paul working on this, and he's working with community, and we're gonna build bridges with club and try and do stuff like that. But it's a good question, and thank you. Young man over here.
Stuart, Sheffield Wednesday fan, massive fan, like everybody else in here. I do really think we are getting billionaire owners. I really do think that. From little whispers we've been all hearing, it's going to be billionaires. It's going to be, like this gentleman's just said, what's just stood up. We need, these kids coming through now, they need something to look forward to get excited by. Billionaire owners, we have a big plan for us. I think we might be going down, unfortunately. Just do what Birmingham did last season. You know, Storm League, and then just get happy times back. But it's all about the owners, isn't it? It's all about the next owners. There will be billionaire owners. Mark my words, it's going to be billionaire owners. And I think it's looking good from here on. I really do. I'm excited. I feel like it's Christmas Eve. I really do. Wake up every morning, listen to Talk Sport every day, always listening for, you know, any rumours, blah, 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 blah. It's mad, innit? It's crazy how a team can go into admin, and instead of being, oh, fucking hell, we're in admin, oh, fucking hell, what's next? What's happening next? We're all like, I wonder what's in that parcel, I wonder what's in that parcel, get a shake, you know? It's exciting times, it's exciting times. Fans are there, fans, we've had some great shit, haven't we? My mates are United fans, and they fucking rubbed it. It just gets to a point where you just, I mean, I train with me in gym, and I think, oh, fuck me, I've got to pick this cunt up, it's going to go about United. It's been good because Nobed's back, Nobed Wilder's back, and they're not doing no, are they? Which is good, which is brilliant. Gets in corner morning, it's all quiet, don't mention nothing. But you know what? We need this big takeover. We're a massive club. Simon Jordan loves us. He's always mentioning us, something about Wednesday. If we get these billionaires, which I do believe we are going to get, we'll fly. I really do believe we'll fly. If they can match our ambition, if they can match fans' ambition, yeah, let's say they do a plan for us, I don't know, do pitch up at Hillsborough, do ground up at Hillsborough, do training ground up, spend a bit of money here, bit of money there and everywhere. I'm telling you now, if we go down, I'll say this now, I'm confident in saying this now, if we go down, I think we'll have record sale season tickets in League One next year. That's what I think. I think everyone will get behind them and buy a season ticket. That's what I think. I'm getting one, my son's getting one, all my family's getting one. Get fucking ready. We're here. Fucking Wednesday are back. Get ready.
With Mark, there's another one online and all, but
we've got some online. I've got this chap here, and who else? I'll be back to you, mate. Okay.
Ask quick questions. Ask quick questions.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I know it's nice to be excited, and I think everybody's excited after the last 10 years, but at the same point, we might not get a billionaire, we might get a multi-millionaire, and everybody has to have some patience. Things can get worse before they get better. As we were saying before, somebody needs to have a long-term strategic aim and plan, and it's not just necessarily about somebody having a lot of money, because having a lot of money in football, there's a lot of multi-millionaires and a lot of billionaires out there. So I think, yeah, it's nice to be excited, but yeah, let's get behind the team. I think it's fantastic to initiatives we've got for youth, and I think when you look across this room, and naturally at the time you're not necessarily going to get a load of kids in here, but we've not got many young people in here. We've not got many people in the 20s, 30s, no offence to anybody. I think we need to build up that fan base, because ever since early 2000s, when I had my first season ticket, we've been pretty rubbish, haven't we? And that takes a long time to build back up. And United have been pretty dominant, and it's a long term. We're not necessarily going to get them 30,000s, 35,000s overnight. So I suppose I just want to, it's fantastic what we're doing, but everybody have some patience and keep behind trust, keep behind club, and bring your friends, bring your family, and we're all Wednesday, aren't we, basically?
Brilliant, thank you.
We've got two more questions, I think, one online.
Yes, one from online. From J Blogs says, we all have expertise that can support the club, especially over the next month or two. Can trades and professionals volunteer their labour and resources?
really good question, something I were keen on for years. In honest, the answer to it is, without speaking to the club, I don't know. I don't know what contracts are in, but yeah, I think it's a really, really good question, that. And it's something I'm sure we can put to the club, because there is, and you know, there's people who's on board who can offer expertise. So, and if it's cheap and it's, you know, cost effective and it gets people involved in the club, I think it's a real good idea. I think we should push it as a trust. Thanks for that question. It's a good question.
Another anonymous one. There's been a lot of questions about cooperation with the club and closer ties. Do you not believe it's important to be truly independent of the club while still having a seat at the table? We do not want to go the way of previous supporters trust. Obviously that's in relation to after administration, and obviously we get new owners.
I think there's legislation coming out, and I think you've got to remember that there's other supporters groups that, you know, they're going to want to be involved, and they represented here. There's a few here, and thank you for coming this evening. I think it's not wholly about the trust. The trust might be the biggest, and we might be the major, but I think it's about getting fans representation and keeping a link to it. Jake was sort of right when he said he didn't want us to be involved in the running of the club, but obviously we want ideally we want saying strategic stuff, and we want to say in, I don't know, name change or ground change or major stuff that matters. But the everyday running of the club's got to be run by a proper team, and that's where fitting proper people come in. They can bring a management team in that are going to run the club correctly, and we've got to trust them. If we can support them, then that's great. And let's get fans representatives in there, and let's see what we can do with that. Let's hope that the new owner takes all the supporters along with them.
Okay, so we got last question, because we don't want to go on like a Chancery fans forum. So,
yeah, wow, what a difference tonight compared to the last two times I were in this room. Unbelievable. And I think I turned up again tonight because I don't think I could let this night go without giving my personal and my family's gratitude to every single member of the board's trust. There's never a greater saying than for evil and tyranny to succeed. It only takes good, honest men to turn the other cheek. And thank God, you guys, you, too many to mention, didn't turn the other cheek, didn't do nothing, turned round, looked this guy right in the eyes and said, enough's enough. And this is what's brought us to this point. As a fan base, I personally think that we're one of the best, if not the best. So I think it's been mentioned by several people. If we are the best, let's have that mentality going forward, that we demand the best, we buy shirts, communication, and then leading onto the pitch. For 25 years it's been mentioned, we've been dished out, average, mediocre. So let's hope this new owner matches the fan base ambitions, and the sky's the limit, I'm sure it is. And once again, my gratitude to the Owls Trust. You gave us hope when there was none. You gave us leadership. You gave us something to get behind. And I'm damn sure without you, this guide has still been here. And I want to personally thank every one of you. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thanks, thank you. Incredible words, thank you. James, you've got a couple of online-ers, yeah?
Yeah, we said it in the last one, but there's a couple of decent questions that have come in. One from Hulking Hilo on YouTube says, maybe for Rob of the Trust, have we had any confirmation from administrators that Chancery, sorry I said his name, has put in his claim for the funds owed to him by the club?
I don't think we have we? He's not heard anything, no. No, we've not heard anything, no.
And one from James Perry says, please elaborate on a high net worth individual. Obviously when you mentioned about the money that's come forward, because that sounds like someone has paid up front pending a takeover. That's the connotation I've just taken from that comment.
My understanding is that not true, and it's Rob Brooks's pension pot that he's put in. All right, so no, I don't think, no, that's not true. My